As if the Trojans' defense wasn't being strained enough, here come the Huskies.
You are Locked On Trojans, your daily podcast on the USC Trojans, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Fight on, everyone. I'm your host, Mark Holkin, and thank you for making Locked On USC your first listen every day. Whether you're watching this show on YouTube or wherever you're going to download your podcast, this show is free. I cannot tell you how much I appreciate your support. You can show me how much you appreciate it. Do me a favor. If you're watching on YouTube, click that subscribe button, hit that thumbs up, smash it, and hit that bell notification. All three mean a lot to the show, and you'll never miss one episode. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Make every moment more. Right now, new customers, you're going to get $150 in bonus bets with any $5 money line bet. That's $150 if your team wins. Visit FanDuel.com/locked-on to get started. Oh, and by the way, I mentioned that USC's defense is constantly being strained and the Huskies are coming to town. What if I told you that USC's depth at safety just took another hit? Yeah, it's true. There's never a good time for an injury, but this time of year, depth, I think, matters more than anything. Following Tuesday's practice, head coach Lincoln Riley told the media that redshirt freshman Zion Branch, he's going to be out for the rest of the year. He had a season-ending procedure. Coach Riley, he didn't want to get into specifics. However, he did mention that it was a, quote, finger quote, related to the injury that ended his year last year. So you feel terrible for Zion. He just took over as the starter at free safety. And that happened in the game against Cal. Played pretty well. Before that, he played a season-high 40 snaps against Utah. I think the results of that game are what helped him earn that starting gig against Cal last weekend. This is what Coach Riley said after practice Tuesday. You hate it for him. His first start, terrible luck. He's so headstrong and so positive and so driven. He'll come back way stronger from it. Obviously, come in here, earn the free safety job at USC as a freshman. That's a pretty big deal. It'll sting for this team to lose him. He's a strong cat. He's going to be a great player here. I just want to kind of remind everybody that when Zion arrived last year, he had that knee injury early during summer, and that happened. It was just a fluke thing, actually. It was during a conditioning drill during PRPs, so the player run practices, and then he was lost for the year. And he was actually USC and the doctors, they wanted to be sure, so you didn't really see him much during the spring. They brought him along really slowly, and he's finally back healthy, ready to go, earn that free safety spot. Boom, injury took over again. So as I said, there's really never a good time for an injury, but against a team that knows how to use its passing game as well as anyone, like Washington, losing someone in the secondary it's kind of a whammy. You hate to see it happen the week of. Washington, USC, they're going to kick off 4:30 at the Coliseum, primetime game, Kirk Herbstreit. They got the first team crew calling the game. Washington's bringing the number 1 passing offense and the number 9 scoring offense in the country to the game. I know I'm stating the obvious here. Washington's just not a team you don't want to be, you literally want to be 100% healthy when they come to town, especially in the secondary. So right now you've got part-time starter Bryson Shaw. He took over when Branch went down with his injury. Max Williams, the other starting free safety, he's been out since the Notre Dame game. This is what Coach Riley said after practice on Tuesday. He's hopeful that some of the guys that are rehabbing and who haven't been able to be on the field with us these last few weeks could also potentially come back and make an impact as well. We'll have to see how this week goes. We have to be ready to proceed without all of them. We got a plan together that we feel confident about to be able to play as well as we can Saturday. I'm assuming part of that plan is going to have something structured for true freshman Christian Pierce, who's been waiting in the wings. I'm just not sure they want to put that much pressure on him. Again, he's a true freshman. Washington's passing offense is pretty prolific. I think he's going to be part of the rotation, though. I mean, the numbers say he has to be, right? He's one of those guys who we don't get to see what happens in practice, but I know when in high school, he just made plays. That's who he was. That's all he did. You have other guys that, I'm sure Lincoln Riley and Coach Grinch and Dante Williams, they're going to be moving around to see what they can do. You've got Antoine Fagans. What about Jalen Smith? Are they going to slide him over away from the nickel spot, move him into free safety? You've got Anthony Beavers. He's played the spot. He's come in during the rotation throughout the season. In spots, I shouldn't say throughout the season, but he's been on the field. What about Fabian Ross? He doesn't see any action at cornerback. Are they going to give him a shot at one of the safety spots? Is he free safety? Is he capable of playing free safety? I guess is the first question. What about Zamarian Gordon? Zamarian Gordon. I mean, that's pretty much it for the scholarship guys at safety. So, who's healthy? Who's going to be available to play? Is the staff confident in the backups who have been lower on the depth chart? Again, next man up. What are you going to give up? The cornerback, those spots. I'll be as politically correct as possible. They haven't been as consistent as everybody would like. How's that? So you've got Damani Jackson. Is Jacoby Covington? Is he going to be healthy this weekend to go up against his old team? Christian Roland Wallace. He essentially has taken over for Sia Wright at one of the quarterback spots. So that you've got Prophet Brown. That's your other healthy scholarship cornerback position. You've got Damani Jackson, Sia Wright, CRW, Prophet Brown, Fabian Ross, who doesn't see the field. This isn't exactly what I would call an ideal scenario considering the competition that's coming up this weekend. So you guys know where the comment section is. Who do you think will be the starting safeties? What will be the assignments? If Max Williams is healthy, I think he will be starting along with Kalen Bullock, who is at strong safety. Otherwise, it should be Bryson Shaw. I asked, is Coach Riley, is Coach Grinch, are they ready to take Christian Pierce off the shelf, so to speak? Take the wrapping off, take him out of the package. Right now, he pretty much does special teams coverage. Is he going to be your free safety? How confident should USC fans be that the next man up will be ready to make a play? Coach Riley talked about that after practice. He explained why he's confident. I'll tell you why he's confident in the next segment. Score early this NFL season with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Right now, new customers are going to get $150 in bonus bets with any winning $5 money line bet. That's $150, $150 if your team wins. If you've been thinking about joining FanDuel, there's no better time than to get in on the action than right now. And they make their app really easy to use. There's a wide range of betting options, including point spreads. You like the player prop bets? They got it. You like the over-unders? They got it. And they got a whole bunch more as well. So visit FanDuel.com/lockedon and kick off the NFL season. FanDuel, the official partner of the NFL. The college football season is here, and Locked On is kicking up our coverage. Each Friday, Locked On will go live from 12 p.m. to 1 p.m. Eastern on every Locked On College YouTube channel. Locked On College Football Live will cover the college football playoff implications, the conference rivalry games, and they're going to go in depth like only Locked On can, including insight and analysis from our stable of Locked On College hosts covering their team every day. Find Locked On College Football Live every Friday from 12 p.m. to 1 p.m. Eastern on any Locked On College YouTube channel. You're not going to want to miss this. Speaking of, we're going to talk about the college football playoffs. The first poll came out this week. I got that coming up for you in segment 3. But first, we're going to talk about why is Coach Riley so confident. You know what gives Coach Riley the confidence that his team can make and these are his estimates, the necessary 5 to 10 in-game adjustments that will allow, the defense, his team particularly, to play a complete game. And that's going to help them win their next 3 games against ranked opponents. He was asked about that. This is what gives Coach Riley his confidence. He used the game against Cal as an example, as his anecdotal evidence. Cause a turnover, the momentum that creates in the fourth quarter up at Cal, and then do the worst thing imaginable. On the very next play offensively, turn it right back over to them on the plus 40-yard line. And to flip the entire momentum of the whole thing and give their offense tremendous field position. And then we go 4 and out and get a stop. Just like that. That's what gives me confidence. Because when we do it, the results are really, really good. But we've got to correct them on all sides. Because that's bad offense that puts the defense in terrible positions. And we've had too much of that these last few weeks as well. When you're listening to me quote Coach Riley, put on your mule shoe radar, because the complete sentences, they're not really there. So you kind of have to know how coach talks, understand his gait, so to speak. And obviously, I'm still trying to get there. I apologize. So this is my question. How confident is Coach Riley? Really? I mean, after the 40-49 win, he gave a really long opening statement victory speech, about 5 minutes. And then the media, we were allowed to get in 3 questions. Following Tuesday's practice, it was 3 questions. And 6 minutes later, Coach Riley is already heading towards Margoo Gate. That's what gets you in and out of Howard Jones practice field. Literally 6 minutes. That's how long his post-practice press conference was. Coincidence? I don't know. Maybe. I'm talking about the 3-question part. Look, he's still under doctor supervision, so maybe that's a part of it, right? And I know USC's head coach, they get tugged in a million different directions all day long. Maybe he had some recruiting stuff he had to get to. Who knows? Maybe he had a game plan he wanted to go focus on, film to go watch, player to talk to. We don't know. It was a really quick post-practice press conference is all I'm saying. Anyways, I want to get back to what gives Coach the confidence to make it happen. I just wanted to kind of throw that in there, that 6 minutes. Yeah. I don't think he wants to be questioned right now. That's the read between the lines part. It's online. You can go check out his post-practice video. So, one thing that Coach Riley was absolutely correct about when he was saying that there is a domino effect that creates challenges. He talked about the defense making a play and then the offense giving the ball right back, and how things are all interconnected. But it kind of seems like most of the mistakes for USC, they're not effort mistakes. They're on the mental side of things. Look, turnovers happen, right? I tend to attribute that mostly to physical miscues. But the mental part of the mental mistakes that this team has been making weekly in the entire month of October, what it seems like, you have players who aren't lining up correctly. And that's going to contribute to the offense stalling out and, taking too long to get the play snap, even the play call coming in from the sideline. All these things are intertwined. They all work together. Obviously, you have the penalties like false starts and ineligible man downfield. Those are mental mistakes. And those things are happening too frequently on offense. There are the multiple special team errors weekly. We don't need to go over those. Balls kicked out of bounds, guys just not covering their gaps, missed tackles. There you go. I covered it for you. Look, I understand that Coach Riley has to have confidence with his staff. But at this point, having the confidence that the team will put it together for 4 quarters, I think that's putting a lot of faith in a miracle. They say faith can move mountains. Okay. I'm not sure faith can stop low IQ football. What about you? What do you think? There's times where you're watching this team play, and it's not that you don't like the players. This isn't personal, but you see some of the things they do, and you're thinking, that wasn't smart. Some of the late game personal foul penalties. Coach Riley's talked about you never want to take away the aggression, the aggressive. But at the same time, Eric Gentry, I'm sure he'll be the first to admit that was just a dumb penalty that he had towards the end of the game last week. That's why I'm talking about low IQ football. I'm not saying the players are idiots. I'm saying they're not recognizing the situation. So, look, if Notre Dame and Utah aren't going to get the team's attention and get them to focus on the little things, the details, then why would it happen against Washington? Because Lincoln Riley said he's confident it's going to happen. He has faith. This is why. Because when you're all in, you keep fighting on, right? Right, Trojan fans? You have to have that type of outlook. You can't dwell on the negative. I can keep pointing it out, but we want to focus on the positive. I really do want to focus on the positive. So do you. I know that USC is the home field underdog, right? But I also believe that USC has a better overall offense than Washington. USC runs the ball better than the Huskies. And they're not too bad passing the ball as well, right? They got a pretty good passing game. I think they have a guy named Caleb Williams. They've got some pretty good wide receivers. They might not have any, 3 NFL guys starting for them right now, but they're pretty good. Here's another thing that I think works to USC's advantage. Neither team is great defensively. But again, USC can run the ball. Washington has a 6th-year quarterback. I mentioned he's got 3 NFL caliber wide receivers. USC has Caleb and a bunch of really good wide receivers, plus that better running game. If Coach Riley, if Caleb Williams, and if Marshawn Lloyd and the offensive line bring their A games on offense, I like USC's chances for the upset at home. That alone should probably have this team pretty pissed off. Being an underdog at home, I know it would have my attention. Passion, drive, and patience. That's what brings home the winning trophy and also what keeps your ride or die alive. eBay Motors has everything you need to maintain your vehicle and level it up to peak performance. From superchargers, roof racks, exhaust kits, LED headlights, and more. Whether you're into speed, power, or style, eBay Motors has got you covered. With over 122 million parts for your number one ride or die, you'll always find exactly what you're looking for. And with eBay Guaranteed Fit, your part is guaranteed to fit your ride every time or your money back. Because with eBay Motors, you're burning rubber, not cash. With all the parts you need at the prices you want, It's easy to turn your car into the MVP and bring home that win. Keep that ride or die alive at ebay.com/motors. eBay, guaranteed fit, only available to U.S. customers, eligible items only, exclusions apply. I'm going to put this up so you can look at it while I'm talking. The first college football playoff poll dropped this week. And as you can see, USC came in number 20. That's right. They're there. First question. Do they belong? Take a look at the teams that are in front of them, teams that are behind them. Maybe this is the better question. Do they look like they belong? Now, you're a college football fan, take a peek. Look at the teams ahead of them, teams behind them. Everybody's had their struggles this year. Some teams are still undefeated. Obviously, they belong in front of USC. Excuse me. But some of the teams who have 1 and 2 losses, let's compare them to USC. So again, I asked the first question. Do they look like they belong? Yes. Do they belong in the top 10? Probably not. Top 15? Maybe number 15. Maybe. Notre Dame holds that spot right now. They beat USC. Last year, the argument that was used against the Trojans was their defense. And then, obviously, the conference championship game loss completely eliminated them from the playoffs. Remember, they held that number 4 spot going into that final weekend. Now, right, they're facing the same perception this year. They are and they already have 2 losses. All right, let me get that out of there. I think everybody saw where USC's ranked. They're number 20. The teams you really want to be focused on right now, number 5 and 6. That's Washington and Oregon, respectively. Why? Well, I'm going to explain to you why right now. There's a lot for USC to play for still. Everything is in front of them. Lincoln Riley, he said it with a smile, with a smirk, a little bit of sarcasm, trying to let the media know, hey, you guys don't leave yet. There's a lot to play for. So some fun opportunities ahead, I believe was the way he phrased it. Well, this Saturday, they take on the number 5 ranked Washington Huskies in Los Angeles. So will a shootout be okay? If USC wins the game 55 to 50, is that a good message? Or do they have to win convincingly? And I ask this question because when they were barely winning earlier in the season, when they were undefeated, they kept dropping in the polls. When they were undefeated. Washington hasn't looked great in their last few wins, during the month, but they kept rising in the poll, or at least they would hold steady. And I understand, teams ahead of them might have lost, and that's why they kept rising. But point being, USC wasn't getting that benefit of the doubt. And Washington's beating the same teams that USC was beating. So, again, where is that bias? Why is USC always working harder? I tried to convey this message to Lincoln Riley earlier in the season about sending a message. He wasn't into that, though. I'm not saying I know more than Lincoln Riley. What I am saying is I know how the Pac-12 works. I know the perception across the country, and I know how hard USC has to work. It's just how it is. So let's say they win. Now where do they jump to? USC beats Washington. They're obviously going to move up in the next playoff poll. Where do you put them? I know a lot has to happen in front of them, but let's say they get the jump to number 15, maybe even number 14. It's a good spot, right? 8-2. And now you got the next game coming up. You travel up to Eugene to play the Ducks, who, again, they're number 6. Assuming USC beats Washington and Oregon gets by Cal this weekend in Eugene. Oregon's probably going to move up to that number 5 spot. And if Florida State loses, maybe they jump up to 4. So it would be USC's luck, though. They'll beat Washington, and somehow Cal pulls the upset up in Eugene, right? You just know what happens that way. Here's what I'm kind of setting things up as we go into the rest of the season. Right now, we know USC plays Washington at 4:30 on ABC. Kirk Herbstreit, Reese Davis, the number one crew for ESPN ABC. USC right now is on standby for their next game against Oregon. The time and channel will be announced after everybody plays on Saturday. So USC wins, Oregon wins. Oregon takes over that Washington number 5 spot. Let's say USC beats Oregon the following week. Primetime game, national TV, because that's what this is really all about. USC goes up to Oregon, gets the win. Do you move them inside the top 10? Do you now say, all right, USC, you showed me who you are. You move them into that number 5 spot, right? 9-2. 1 game left. UCLA, back at the Coliseum. We don't know where UCLA will be. I'm going to assume they win their games and they keep moving up into the playoff poll as well. Let's say USC and UCLA are both top 10 teams. That game could be fun. Lincoln Riley, he's a smart coach. I know that I've been hypercritical, but I think I'm being fair. I'm not trying. This is not personal. I like Lincoln Riley. I think he and I have a very similar personality. I think we both have similar personalities. I might be a little bit more outspoken because I can be. He's got to protect his team and his staff. I get that. So again, this is why I think Lincoln Riley thinks these next 3 weeks are going to be really fun opportunities. And he is absolutely right. If you're a college football fan, you have to be looking forward to these games. I'm not sure how many miracles sports fans are allowed to have in their lifetime. I've been around for the miracle in Manchester. Yeah, the Kings comeback playoff win. Amazing. I was watching on TV when Kirk Gibson hit that home run against Dennis Eckersley in the Oakland A's, 1988. Crazy fun. I was wide awake when Al Michaels asked me and everybody in the country if I believed in miracles. Team USA beat the former Soviet Union. I'm a hockey fan, yeah. And I was also there, though, when Stanford beat USC as a 41-point underdog at the Coliseum. So I've seen miracles in action. If USC was to win these next 3 games, I don't know if that would be considered a miracle. But if they win these next 3 games and the conference championship game and somehow find themselves in the playoffs, I think that would be a minor miracle. Let's all hope, pray, and have positive thoughts for a minor miracle. But first, let's focus on Washington this week. And let's also focus on another episode of Locked on USC that will be here tomorrow, because that's what we do 5 times a week. And I'm also scheduled to interview Jarrett Kingston. So we'll have a bonus episode. I'm not sure when that'll get up, but we're gonna get an interview in with Jarrett Kingston. So until then, everyone, you know what to do.